I guess we're live. Are we there, okay? You hear the air conditioner in it? Yeah, well, I was kind of waiting to see if anybody's going to join us. We kind of only got me and you. Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day. But somebody else to come in. But what do you want to talk about tonight? Been kind of.
Not rain today.
We did get rain. That's a good thing. I have to say, I got 8/10 of an inch. That's the
As
best.
hard as it rained in Georgia, added up more than that.
I don't think it caught all that because it was raining pretty hard sideways there. It's been working in the garden, keeping the grandbaby. Grandbaby takes a lot of her time, and especially on the weekend time.
Oh, he was in the mood this weekend.
Yeah, he was in a bad mama way.
Had the battle of the wheels going.
Yeah,
Who was going to win? The 17-month-old? Or the
he's
boy
stubborn like his
7-year-old?
mama.
He pulled out of his mama's hind end.
Yep. All we really done is hung around the house, took care of the grandbaby, and I done some gardening. I actually didn't get out in the garden today. I did this morning. I didn't after about 8 o'clock. I've been working on okra and peppers and cutting onions and cutting up different things, trying to get everything put back, reorganizing our storage cabinet.
Been trying to choke me to death.
Didn't I was part of the making the dealing with the peppers. I made some pickled peppers. It kind of kicked in pretty hard.
Is that what it was last night? You about choked me down?
That was the hot dill pickle mix.
No. You about done me in. I didn't think I was going to sleep because I think it was about 3 a.m. before I finally quit coughing.
It was pretty strong where I was at. I'm the one that actually poured the stuff up. It was pretty rough, I have to say.
Sheesh.
I don't know. Our gardens was doing good even though in the drought. It was drought-like weather. If you watched our video where I planted the oats, you could see the dust fly every time I took a step. It was that dry everywhere. It's not dry now, but it will be by tomorrow afternoon. It'll dry this back up. Right now, everything's good and wet, and everything looks healthy and green. Looks like everything's growing. It won't be long. It'll just suck it all back out. It'll be done. But we are blessed. We are getting a good harvest, even though it's dry.
Fourth of July weekend.
4th of July weekend.
They're going to be fireworks tonight, or is that tomorrow?
I don't know. Might be tonight. If it is, we might have to cut this thing off early. I'd like to see it. Don't really want to drive out to it. Might have to.
I really pay no attention.
I hadn't paid attention to the sign. I hadn't been by there in a couple of days, so last time I came through town, I didn't see nothing about it, but I wasn't looking for it either. Garfield on Facebook.
Well, that rain today, it won't be, it has done for us. I mean, some places were canceling fireworks displays because it's been so dry.
Yeah. Well, we've made a couple of different videos this week. I made one earlier about I put a few of the tomatoes in the pan and in that cake pan. I put some jalapenos in there. What else? I had the cucumbers, the banana peppers, and all that in there. We actually had more of that than what I put in it, but I stopped while I was processing and trying to get everything put up. And thought I need to make a short video, show people we are getting stuff out of the garden. I don't play in 4 gardens for the fun of it, and we actually do get food out of it. Garden 1's really the only one that's really producing right now. We're getting potatoes out of the big other garden, Garden 3, the big one. Got some beans out of it the other day. Got a few peas. It'll slowly pick up. It'll get better as far as the beans on the second garden over here. They're climbing the trellis and they got blooms all over them. Should be a pretty good harvest anyway, even though it is hot. Supposed to be back in around 100 again this week. So we're not going to change much according to the Weather Channel. It's just ain't nothing you can do about it. You just gotta do the best you can.
What'd you say happened to that mayor today? Bleached?
On the sun burning it, bleached out by the sun, and had actually had a burn spot on that one.
That's something else right there now.
The intensity of the sun is very high. Even the Weather Channel has it listed extremely high on the heat index. Or forgot how they put it, but actually the intensity of the sun, I think maybe it said solar intensity.
But that blissed you pretty good if you swear to stay out for very long.
It'd be rough on the body. That's the reason why tomato plants have all the big long leaves and long limbs. It's supposed to protect itself. And though you have to take some of them off because they touch the ground, here in the south when it's humid, they'll get the yellow leaves. They call it early blight. A lot of times you'll get it in the springtime, or they call it early blight, but it's from the humidity and extra moisture and rubbing the ground. Of course, there ain't much you can do about humidity here. Move about the only thing you can do.
Joys of living in Tennessee.
Our big tomatoes I put in the little short video is mule team tomatoes. They're heirloom, open pollinated. I've heard a couple people complain about how you can't get true seeds no more, and how their heirlooms had 4 or 5 different shapes or different colors, or they wasn't true to what the package said. I've never grown an heirloom that was completely true. I've always had some variances in a heirloom plant. I don't know, maybe it's just my garden. Hope everybody's having a safe weekend.
It's kind of like vacation week. A lot of people go on vacation.
A lot of people's gone.
This week. No, they like to take off, and
if it didn't cost so much, I wouldn't mind either. I don't think I want to go to Florida. It's as hot there as it is here.
I'd like to see the ocean again.
You can see that in the spring or the fall.
I mean,
not the dead of summer. Everybody wants to go in the dead of summer. It's so busy down there you can't do nothing. Bumper to bumper traffic.
Well,
kind of like going to Smoky Mountains on Christmas. It's almost impossible to move. off season.
We just don't do a lot of vacations.
Yeah, maybe
When
we
our kids
can.
were little, we didn't. Well, we did the scout thing, so
We
that
did
was
the scout
almost like a
thing.
vacation every year.
We went camping with the scouts and we went visiting things with the scouts. And I think we went to the mountains one time with the Girl Scouts, wasn't it?
Yep, went to the Dixie Stampede because of the
It's
Girl
just-
Scout discounts.
we went a few times, but it's always been expensive, and we've always had to watch our funding. And like now, we really got to watch our funding. There is no hope for a vacation right now. Maybe in a couple months, things work out.
Oh, they just cost a fortune on all them trips we took with the scouts. It's
Yeah, we
just about every trip we went with that, it's anywhere from $100 to $200 on the things. Every time you turned around, it was. I mean, it was fun. It was a great experience for
oh
the kids.
remember now it was free and it was on a volunteer basis.
that
The only place I ever
Don't you
volunteered,
go
I had to
nowhere.
pay to volunteer.
Yeah. But I mean, the kids learned a lot. There's some
I had
fun
fun.
times.
Maybe
I
we
don't remember much of it.
maybe we taught a couple kids something. I don't know. We taught one or two to be a firebug. I know.
Our two is only Starbucks. They can go to fire out of anything.
It's, maybe it'll rain again this week.
That's good for survival too.
Yeah.
Know how to build fire. Know how to cook over the open fire. That's pretty good idea. There wasn't much that we couldn't cook on the open fire.
Showing them an item or two in the woods that will actually build a fire. Things that will actually burn really intense and quick.
The most interesting thing I think I learned in all the years we did scouting was the dude who showed us the trees that you could eat. I can't remember him now because my mind's not what it used to be. But he literally walked up to this tree and said, "You can eat this part of this thing." And he'd take the bark off, get down under the exterior layer, and you could eat. It was edible. And I'm like, it's a tree. But he was like, yes, this can sustain you if, and I can't remember the tree. I mean, I couldn't do it. I did back then I could because he taught us how, but like I said, my mind isn't what it used to be. But it was part of the survival training that they took.
That might have helped spur some of the things we've done in our yard though. We've planted a lot of food, a lot of trees and bushes that grows food.
Well, it's just about,
We didn't plant anything that burns really good, but
well, I mean, think
I
about it.
really want that here.
I know in today's
It's close
society, we can go out to eat. There's restaurants literally everywhere. When you and I were kids, there wasn't. I mean, you had to go somewhere to get eat out. I mean, going to a restaurant to eat was a treat when we were kids. My parents, I mean, when I got in high school, yeah, but when I was elementary level and stuff, we just didn't go to the restaurants. We had dinner at home. And my parents were hunters, so we had deer meat. They grew chickens. Well, my grandfather grew chickens. And we would, they would have a time when you killed the chicken and plucked the feathers and fixed it up. And there was times they raised cows. And I mean, that's how we rarely went to the grocery. I mean, like I said, this is probably my elementary years. But they grew up in a generation, that's what you did. You had chickens for the eggs. When you needed meat, you killed the chicken.
Yep.
If it stopped producing eggs, then you killed the chicken. You grew cows. Even pigs. You grew a garden. That was just the way of life.
We was gonna have chickens. We've had rabbits, but we started to get chickens this year, and I backed off and didn't buy them. Which we don't really have anything good to feed them. We'd have to feed them our basically our compost, and still have to buy some seed for them or some grain, you know. I'd have to build a chicken tractor, let them eat out of the yard, which would be all right. But we just wouldn't have enough stuff ready to have chickens here,
Well,
and we didn't have the money to go out and just buy everything we need. So,
it also would be more work for you,
and it's
you've
more work
got
for me.
enough on you right now. And it's just like today I was talking. I've actually got speech tonight for who knows
Yeah,
how long.
You're doing good tonight.
And
I can hear you.
there's days when getting up off the couch and moving around my house is a chore. And those days are more frequent than the ones that I can actually get up and do something.
Hey,
So
Jules, how are you?
I miss the days when I could get out in the garden and pick the cucumbers.
I
And
didn't
tomatoes
I
and
didn't get no
green beans.
chickens this year. I hope to get them soon. My daddy's actually got his chickens sitting on eggs right now. I'm trying to get stuff ready, but I just didn't do it. What was you saying? I want to make sure I called him.
Which is something I didn't think I'd say.
She didn't say that loud enough, Jules. You didn't hear that. She says she misses being in the garden, being sick and not able to get out.
I think
She didn't think she'd ever say that.
I don't know that it's so much that I miss the garden as I miss the ability to do it. You know, when I could do it, I didn't want to. I mean, I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong. Early in the mornings when it was cool, I loved hunting down the cucumbers and finding the tomatoes. I didn't mind picking the green beans off the trellis, but the ones down low, that was backbreaking work. I was the
You're kind of like Geeky Gardens. You enjoyed the suspense of finding things. He likes to hunt.
as long as I didn't have to bend over too much. But it's kind of one of those things. When you drive all the time, you don't really want to drive. And then when somebody tells you you can't, all you want to do is drive.
He said, "Yep, grow them tall or grow stuff on the platform."
It's just, I guess I just listen all
We'd have to build you something to hang on to now and get you out there. We'd have to build you some rails around the raised beds.
I have to sit down
make
and
you a
you
loop.
have to pick my hind end back up off the ground.
Put up guardrails, make you a loop around them. That way you can circle until you get done. Miss Cindy has a condition called FND, along with several other issues, but she has bad dizziness. She has problem speaking. She has seizure-like symptoms, stroke-like symptoms. And if she gets too excited, it's more like narcolepsy. She'll just go out.
My stability's the worst.
It's a bad mental disease.
My brain no longer communicates properly with my central nervous system. Best way I've heard to describe it.
She would love to be out and love to go to the garden and love to do things, but she just can't right now. We haven't learned, or she hasn't learned any way to combat this really. There is no medicine for it other than cognitive behavior therapy is the only thing they know to do to it right now, and more or less teach you to live with it. So the gardening, everything outside the four walls is mine. Cooking and cleaning is pretty much mine. And it's like a prison sentence for her. But
you have a full-time job, plus full-time gardening, and full-time caregiver. Just a little bit of stuff, too. Yeah.
Pretty much got a healthy body. Still got her mind, but she can't use them the way she used to. The teaching, the preaching, the Sunday school classes, all that's out right now. We keep believing it will. We keep believing there'll be a change in this. Don't know how long it'll take. It's going to happen someday. It was kind of hard for me to start this 8 o'clock. I know it's a holiday weekend. But I'm usually outside at 8:30, almost 9 at night, trying to get the gardens caught up and keep everything going. But it did rain this afternoon, so it was kind of nutty, A good excuse not to go to the garden and work. Of course, all I had to do probably was pull grass and hoe grass and got to clean up where everything's growing so fast. So I guess you can say, got an evening off.
Yeah, because then you cook dinner.
I've been moving stuff around the house, getting all of our produce and our harvest in, and trying to find a place to put it. And canning, freezing, cutting, chopping, pickling. About to get it done, Control. I've got next week off, so I'm going to be able to get a lot of stuff done. I hope. If grandson don't spend too many days with us, I'll get some stuff done.
Yeah, all work ceases when he comes around.
Yeah, it's good to be number one, but you don't get much done.
Next to his mama, I don't know. He just clings to you.
That's right. I can't get nothing done because he's in my arms all the time. I can't get him. I don't need him around the kitchen stove. I don't need him around anything dangerous. So, because he knows no fear right now. He's 17 months old and thinks he's grown. He thinks he should do everything his pappy does.
Literally.
Literally.
We were at work on the sink one night, kitchen sink one night, when he came over.
We're still working on
And
the
he
sink.
still crawls under the kitchen sink looks like he's trying to do what Pappy was doing.
Anything I do, he comes by every day. He comes over here and he does it all over again. We have to fuss on him about touching certain items like the fireplace, and they see me turn the fireplace on in the winter. He has to go by and touch the fireplace every time he comes over. Just so I can fuss, I guess.
And he watched you put the air conditioner in, so now he thinks he should work on it. He really likes the way it blows his hair, I think.
Yeah, it does feel good.
He'll stand in front of it sometimes. You're definitely busy because
So what have you been doing, Jules?
Peter picking things.
I ain't got to watch any videos of it, but I know this coming week I've got to pull sweet corn. Hopefully dig the rest of my potatoes over the week. If they're ready, I'm gonna dig them all. Got to get that done, get my cover crops planted. I got to plant tomatoes and bush beans over here. The big garden's gonna have a cover crop. Jules is the one in North Carolina that's got his backyard in a garden, basically. He's always got a lot of unique plants,
Cool.
raised beds and pots and shed bed garden is really going nuts.
We don't know how to take a holiday around here either.
It's a pretty good holiday just being off from work. Where it is to me, I know.
Yeah, the summer program ended.
Yes.
Get a break here, so.
Summer program. We're hauling children for a month or so.
Yeah, but you got bus inspection coming up, so we got all that stuff to get done.
I've never tried the Three Sisters garden. I've seen it once or twice, but very prolific. The vines everywhere here is the morning glories, the wild morning glories. What I call garden number three has got dozens in it. I'd almost say hundreds. But I pick them out every time I go over there, and it seems like there's a vine 3 or 4 foot long growing on something every time you turn the corner. Can't seem to get rid of them. I'll have to look into your Three Sisters garden, watch it some more. I plant my stick beans or pole beans on the trellis. So I swap stuff in and out, try to grow more than one item. So it's sometimes hard to do stuff like that. It might work if I can set it up in a certain spot. I try to do succession planting, try to get everything in I can in our short little garden season. I know people further north's got a shorter one than we do, but I keep mine busy from the time it puts frost into the first frost hits again. I try to keep something growing.
I still remember the day you brought in a plant in a pot, put it in our bedroom, and grew a tomato in our bedroom for the winter.
I'm learning how to grow things in places other than the garden. But
That was before we had the office back here where we have everything, utility room, junk room, whatever you want to call it room. Before we had the grow lights and everything. That was just fluke thing. I don't know how in the world to do it.
I've got 80 something tomato plants out right now. 87. I've got 40 more that needs to go out. And 5 more volunteers that popped up. So when the corn comes out, the tomatoes is going to go in, the bush beans is going to go in. Somewhere around where the last potato row comes out. It's all going to work out somehow. I don't know yet. I'll know when it gets there. But I've grew collard greens and turnip greens and mustard greens and kale. It'll grow all winter. It does. Most time it will if you get it established, get it good size. You'll have something still growing. When the ground freezes a few times, it kind of knocks everything down. But right now we're roughly at a year. I would like to stretch it a little more, but depending on how our garden season goes, I'll have enough canned goods for at least a year. I'd really like to stretch out a little further, but right now we're still eating 2021's food. We're putting everything 2022 gardening in cans or in the freezer or wherever we can put it. We was eating 2020 in the first of the year, so we got pretty close. We're just now starting to really get into the 2021 stuff. It takes a lot of room to store all that. So we're building up slowly, finding ways of doing it. We've learned to store several things, like we've stored pumpkins, we've stored spaghetti squash and watermelons, and they'll keep for several months. But of course, we eat fresh out of the gardens during the gardening year. Yeah, got plenty of garlic. Green beans ain't a real bad thing, but if you can get a good year, you can get plenty of beans growing. It don't take a real big area, but right now if it hadn't rained today, we've been in severe drought. it was so dusty the other day when I made the video of planting oats. You could see the dust fly off my feet when I walked through the garden with the rake. I was stirring dust up, not even using the rake yet. We got 8/10 of an inch today. That's the best rain, second best rain we've had. We only got one good rain last month. Normally it's wet this time of year, and it starts drying out at the end of July, and August gets dry. This year it started in June instead of August. Yeah, I hate to know what my water bill is going to be because I do have city water, even though I do have rain catchment, because I can't catch enough water for all 4 gardens. I usually keep it, put my liquid fertilizer in. And when I think things is getting really rough, I'll use the rainwater, but it'll hold, I think I can keep 400 gallons roughly, 350, 400, which sounds like a lot. And if you got 4 gardens, it don't go far. I use it on the drip lines, add my liquid fertilizer to it, and fertilize most important plants to me, my tomatoes. I get to use my daughter's water bill too. I've got 2 gardens behind her house. I try not to run hers up, but I do use it a little bit.
That's okay. She came shopping in our pantry today.
Oh yeah, she eats from the garden. So. Jules, it was a big plastic tank where I used to work at a factory. It was a salt vat. Had to make a wooden top. The plastic top was gone. I've got the gutter on the back side of the house plumbed into that tank. It only has one downspout, and it goes into that tank, which tank's got to overflow, and it overflows into a 50-gallon drum. I put a spigot in the bottom of that black tank where I can hook a hose to it, or I've got a pump right now. I've got a circulation pump, a cheap pump from, I don't remember if it was Northern Tool or Harbor Freight one, I can use to push it to the garden. You can hook a hose to the top of the pump, just turn the valve on, and it will flow water, but it won't fill up a drip line necessarily. You have to have pressure for it. Soaker hose, it will work. If you can get your barrel up high enough to get some gravity flow, get your gravity pressure up, it'll push through soaker hoses. I've done that before. My greenhouse has got 2 barrels. I used to run soaker hoses off it. It worked pretty good, the soaker hose. We don't have a really big hardware store here, which is kind of a personal owned hardware store. So the biggest thing I could find to put a spigot on a barrel is, what do they call that? It's a little round disc that you can buy in the plumbing section. Usually it's galvanized. Got the 4 screws in. People use it for making handrails. But you can put silicone in that and screw it to the barrel and drill a hole where the threads is, and you've got pipe threads on the side of a barrel or the bottom of the barrel, whichever you want to do. We don't have the fittings around here or a place anywhere close to get the barrel fittings. Closet fitting or something like that. It's got a name. I just silicone them on, put 4 screws in them, put a 3/4 or 1 inch on it, because a garden hose is 3/4, whichever I can get. Sometimes you can't get a 3/4, sometimes I have to get a 1 inch, but reduce it down if you have to. The 3/4 hose will be fed really well with it. Or stick it with a 5/8, whichever one you want to use. My greenhouse and barrel set a little ways above the garden. If I run it to the end of the garden, it's about a 4 foot drop. It pushes to the hose pretty good. I can turn it on, drain a 50-gallon barrel in a few hours through soaker hoses. Drip line, you got to have the pressure. It's got to have a little bit of pressure all the time. Are you resting on me over there?
Yes. Yeah. Just
Can't remember. Yeah, that would be nice. It'd get more gravity, get more pressure, gravity pressure on it, make it flow a little better. I didn't have anything set that big tank on, or I'd have jacked it up a little higher. It cost too much to build a platform to hold, say, 400 gallons safely. Yeah, I'd have to use something good to hold up 400 gallons.
almost have to pour concrete bed or
It's over 8 pounds to a gallon, so you're looking at, counting the tank and all, probably 3,300 pounds. It'd be better to stack blocks, probably. What I want is I know it's kind of strange. I want a water tower in between two of my gardens. The house my daughter lives in, which is on our property, has an old well. It has a hand dug well on it. I want to put a pump in that hand dug well, run a line over to basically a water tower, a homemade water tower, so I can have the gravity pressure to push the water into either garden. But I can pump it up there and store it. That way I don't have to depend on the pump to water the garden necessarily. I can always fill the tank anytime. Might even work out somebody to catch a little rainwater in it. I don't know. That'd be catch a lot of junk that way. It look kind of strange here, but I don't care. Make people stop and ask questions. Build us a windmill out here. I always wanted one of them too. I always wanted to build a windmill. I run into a older man. He was a carpenter. He was building a windmill out of wood with wooden pegs, no nails. He said everything would be wood, and he got done. I thought about that for a long time. I thought I'd like to have one of them, and I could do it. It'd take me longer than it would him because I'm not used to all that. But one of these days, they'd probably be one standing up on Swafford Homestead. I guess you put the mesh at an angle on top, you could catch the water and the trash could probably wash off that way. One of the Amish communities next to us, they've got a rain catchment on some kind of little building. I don't know what the building's for. Might be a little hay barn, but I know it's got a gutter running around to, they've got a 300-gallon tote. My spigot hooked in. It's pretty neat. They've learned around here. They no telling what'll be in my yard or what I have built, or I used to keep them guessing pretty good.
yes. They ought to know by now. Build just about anything, and you will figure out a way to get things done. Especially after you put a shed on the back of a pickup truck and drove it across your yard.
I just think they always loved me for VBS. They bring me crazy ideas and I build them something for it.
We turned a grand piano into a wagon one year.
That's actually on YouTube. I've got a short video of our piano turned into a covered wagon for VBS.
Built our pastor's podium, he's preaches from. Bridge podium.
What about the wheel like in a boat where you steer a boat?
Oh yeah.
I built one of them.
Up from the shelf.
It got beat up. It went to so many different VBSs. They tore it up. But it's still, the two big parts are still there.
It only went through about 6 VBSs. Over the course of what, 3 years, 4?
Built a wooden anchor. Cut it out of wood and shaped it. Tied a rope to it. I mean, we had all kinds of good props going.
I think the coolest thing you
That
ever.
went to Baltimore.
Yeah.
We had a group come in from Baltimore, Maryland, with the church, and they seen it and they wanted to take it with them. They took it and their cardboard boat and all kinds of stuff we had for VBS.
I think the coolest thing you ever made was the treasure box top things for the pastor and our youth pastor. Our youth group was called the Link, and you made a chain link with a handle on the youth pastor's box. And you, of course, the pastor used bridge as part of our church name. You put a little bridge on top of the pastor. That was the handle for it, was to lift the lid. You the bridge, you pulled it up, or the chain link. It was pretty cool. A wooden, all that made out of wood. The chain link made out of wood was just probably one of the coolest things I think we've made.
Yeah, it'd really be fun if I could build the water tower or the windmill where nobody sees it and I just stand it up. One evening stand up and you'll be there the next morning. That would.
Yeah. Sure.
That'd make the old people stop and stare for sure. Drive really, really slow.
Might cause an accident. They could be looking at it, not watching the road.
We got a ditch. I don't have any flowing water. It stays fairly dry till it rains. Especially this time of year, it's really dry, but we're actually in the city limits of a small town. Oh yeah, if it rains really hard, it gets full quick. You could ride a boat down it today. Our yard has got 2 or 3 angles to it. It all goes down towards the ditch. The ditch kind of runs down the middle of where the house is, or our house is, where the kids' houses are. It's pretty well flat over that way. But it's up higher than it is here. All the water comes to us. All the water from our house goes down the ditch. All the water from their houses comes to the opposite side of the ditch, and it all flows out of the property. Yeah, it catches a lot of water. That would be a way to collect water. I'd want it to rain for a few minutes to make sure, but Yeah. Yeah. We've got actually have a tank outside the back door. I'm not sure what it was used for years ago, but I've asked two or three people because the house is really old. But it's up too high to do something like that unless I catch water off the gutters of the house. It's a metal tank somebody put in the ground. I actually didn't know it was there, and I was digging one day, and I stuck one of my tools through it, found it the hard way. We dug it up, and I've used it a couple of times for different things, but it's really in a bad spot. I'd be afraid it was a septic tank. Our house, before we bought the latest addition to our house was in the 70s, they built the bathroom onto the house. That's how old it was. There wasn't no indoor plumbing. They said the late 70s they built the bathroom, added everything in. The house come out of the 30s. That's roughly estimated what it says. Estimated in the 30s. Old as it is, no, it probably wouldn't hurt anything, but it's just, the thoughts of it. But it is a deep hole. It's a good sized tank. It's, what was it, like 3 foot by 5 foot, 3 foot in diameter, 5 foot deep, or something like that. It's pretty good size. I'd have to get a gutter downspout and all that run into it where I've got my tank on the opposite end. It's around, not on the corner of the house, it's on the side of the house, so I just haven't done anything with it really. I've experimented and kind of cut the top open and used it a couple of times for different things, but I tried it for a small version of the geothermal cooling, but it ain't big enough. It won't, I can't cool the water without a long line. I was going to use it for the reservoir. Everything you do though costs money. So it's another one of those to-do lists. Now that I've got garden and trees and everything in the world in the yard, it's hard to have all that now. Good. Have to dig. Have to find a tank and dig. I've got my fruit trees on both sides of the ditch now, so I'm drying the yard out with trees. I've got more property, but it's not right here at the house. Our property's L-shaped right now. We have over an acre. We've got somewhere between an acre and a half and 2 acres, roughly estimating. It's a little over an acre and a half, but it's L-shaped and nothing's right here together. Hopefully the things will work out. We'll get a little more property. I got my name in the hat on 2 different spots here, so it would help. Composting grass is another thing I've got to get started. I've got a leaf rake. I could actually rake it up, but the bag's bad on it, so it needs a new bag. Like I said, we're in the city limits, but we can pretty much do what we want to. We can have chickens, we can have small animals. Probably couldn't get away with hogs or cattle, but I don't know if I had a little more room, I could probably do it. I'd probably get away with a little bit. It's been a small rural town. You can get away with a lot here. I think there's actually a city ordinance that says we're not supposed to have roosters either.
We're limited to how many chickens we can have.
So, hey, we got somebody else. Tasha? Hey, how are you? Tessa? I know I didn't say that right.
I don't know, my eyes are blurred, I can't read.
Tessa, maybe. I'm sorry. I just haven't looked down and seen the letter. First couple letters. Me and Jill just having a garden talk. We're discussing how we can get water and save water and get free water. Two golden coins. I don't really know what my daddy's got brewing at his house, but I think he's got two hens and a rooster right now, but he's got some eggs and he's got two hens sitting on eggs, I should say. They've been wanting to sit, so he's let them sit on the eggs. We'll see if we get anything. They're dedicated anyway. I don't know if anything will live or not, but weather's horrible. Hopefully this fall I can get a few things done and get ready to have chickens. I've got a cage and I've got the feeder, but it wouldn't be much of a life for something that's living in a small cage. I'd actually like to have a chicken tractor or a cage down on the ground where I can use them to make compost and eat grass and fertilize. Chicken tractor would make it a lot easier on the garden to fertilize. We've been rabbits for a year or so.
I don't remember.
I kept rabbits for a while. Ran into a lot of problems.
One, our dog loved them.
I watch Lazy Dog Farms. He has a chicken tractor with about 9 or 10 chickens in it. He runs it up and down all his plots. He's got 10 garden spots. He plants a cover crop, lets it grow for a while, and then puts the chickens on it. But he's South Georgia, so he can pretty much grow something all year round. They're amazed if they get a good frost. I do have a few unique items to the garden most people ain't gonna have around here. My sunchokes is one of them. I'll be interested to see what a sunchoke tastes like. They're doing really good. I planted one of the Aramuth. Aramuth is growing really good. We planted oats the other day. Planted oats for a cover crop. It's the edible hulless oats, so we'll probably be able to play with that if it'll grow fast enough. Of course, I've got sorghum growing. Try to keep stuff interesting. I try to grow something new every year, something beneficial. We enjoyed the sorghum last year, so I planned it back again this year, so I get to make more syrup. I think something else we planted unique. Planted artichokes, they didn't do no good. See you, Jules. Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day. Yeah, it's getting later. We need to be winding this thing down too. Have a good night. I don't know who we got left. We got a couple people. In case there is somebody that don't know us, we are in Middle Tennessee, kind of in the western area of it. But we're inside of a small city limits. Now we're still a rural area, even though we're in town. There's no stoplights, no four-way stops, no traffic lights of any kind. We do have one-way street. B2, the other one's gravel, and it's been cut off because the city's dug a gas line or something up over a month ago. They just cut the road up and blocked it off, and yeah, it ain't used no more. They build hay in front of our house. We run 4 gardens, grow as much food as we can and freeze as much as we can. We have fruit trees and vines, bushes, just about any way we can grow food or fruit here. Pretty much take care of everything ourselves if we can. Most everything's done by me or my son, so anything gets fixed or worked on or built. But we've been on here almost an hour. I guess we'll let somebody else have the next hour. We'll be nice and get off here. I hope everybody has a good 4th of July. Be safe. God bless.